All right. Good evening, everyone. Irish Hammer here, along with Joshyboy. Josh, as always, a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Always a seat at this table, my friend. Um, well, we've had a lot happen in the last week or so. Um, we've crowned a national champion in college football. We have our conference championship games set in the NFL. Tennessee football has made quite a bit of noise, both with the transfer portal and also with their most recent coaching hire. So a lot to cover here. So, Josh, let's just start with the most recent of things. We had Indiana and Miami duking it out Monday night for the national championship. And I've got to say, man, that was one of the better national championship games that I've seen, and I have seen my share
Yeah,
of them.
same.
It's hard to not like Fernando Mendoza, man.
Yeah,
That guy is so well spoken, and it's just the epitome of class and humbleness, and also the flip side of that, he's obviously very fierce competitor because that poor guy got the just absolute hell beat out of him, and he
yeah, you
just kept
did.
coming, man. He just
Yep.
kept coming. I thought what an iconic shot when they zoomed in on him, where it was basically just his helmet in the frame and
Yeah,
the blood on his chin strap and on his lip, and he took that vicious shot that should have been called that wasn't. Coach
yeah,
Signetti was right, and I'm really glad to see him not care and go right after the officiating right there on national television. I thought it was phenomenal. But man, what a gutty performance by Mendoza. And we talked on here about the game. I thought Miami could play in this game, and they sure did. They showed up. They were a slightly underthrown Carson Beck ball to end the game away from possibly tying and possibly winning that game. And honestly, as good as Indiana's been, and we've talked about this all, most of the year, maybe not all year, because I wasn't necessarily drinking the Indiana Kool-Aid the first part of the season. But once they won, again, I always go back to that Oregon game when everybody thought they were going to go up there and just get boat raced by the Ducks. And Indiana pulls off that win. Since that point, we've talked about how good this team is, how good they are on both sides of the ball from a line of scrimmage standpoint, from a discipline standpoint. They don't make mistakes, they don't beat themselves. And then they just turned into a machine to close out the season and then going through the entire college football playoff. I mean, they were really never tested the entire tournament.
yep.
And here's this Miami team that, and we talked about this a little bit too last week, that they've been in every kind of game that you can imagine. They started out with that rock fight with Texas A&M where nobody wanted to score. Um, and then they take down Ohio State, which I thought was a bad matchup for Ohio State to begin with, because Miami is so good on the line of scrimmage, both their offensive line and obviously they've got two NFL caliber defensive ends on the defensive line. So they win that game. And so now here they come to take on Ole Miss, and then they have a shootout, which we all thought there's no way Carson Beck is going to be able to hang in there, match scores with this Ole Miss offense. But yet here he is. So Miami was really battle tested going into this game, and I think that helped them a lot in what they were, up against with this machine from Bloomington, Indiana. But just a phenomenal game, and honestly, man, I mean, Miami was a block kick return for a touchdown Indiana had to have 2 4th and 5 conversions and got bailed out a couple times with some penalties, which there was horrible officiating in this game. I guess the Big 12 isn't used to people playing defense, so they don't know how to officiate it. But I saw more holds, grabs, and pass interference in that game that didn't get called that I think I've ever seen. And then just the repeated abuse of Fernando Mendoza with the late hits and the targeting that wasn't called. Just some horrendous officiating. But Miami, they absolutely made Indiana beat them. You take away the block punt for a touchdown. You take away either of those 4th and 5 conversions. Had Indiana played that last play a little bit differently, we could very well be sitting here talking about Miami making that comeback. So the plus 8.5 comes home. The over 47.5 barely makes it. And team total for Miami went over. Did Indiana's team
18.
total go over?
No, that was 27.5. So it missed by the hook.
Yeah, got hooked on that. So, but really good reads. I wouldn't have played it any differently. I thought you were dead on with those team totals. And then we got both the cover and the total. So really good reads there from both of us, and I love it when we're both right. So that's my favorite time of the year, when we're both right. So, but man, what thoughts do you have? What did you see, or what do you want to point out, or kind of talk about that game?
So, Hammer, I agree with you, man, most of what you said. I think the officials were pretty good for most of the game, except for that targeting on Mendoza, which should have been called. And if you're going to call the late hit on that Indiana player when Miami had the ball last possession of the game, you got to at least call the targeting on Jacoby Thomas, which that was obviously a targeting on Mendoza. But I agree with you. They missed a few holding calls, a few pass interference calls, but all in all, I think the officials were pretty good. And I think if Indiana wouldn't have jumped on that false start when they were about to seal the game away, Miami doesn't even get the ball back, and Indiana gets a first down, ends the ball game. So, what did you think about first half of the game? Both teams were filling each other out. Like Indiana kind of struggled and Miami struggled, basically.
Yeah. I think I kind of, I guess, compared that to like a heavyweight fight. Like they both were just, like you said, just kind of feeling each other out. They weren't ready to open up the playbook too much, make too many risky throws, or get too cute with the offense. I think they kind of wanted to get a feel for what the other was going to do, because this is, this was a pretty evenly matched. I mean, it's one of the better, national championship games I've ever seen, and I certainly think it was the best matchup out of this bunch that we had this go around. So I think that is exactly what it was. Both coaches were just they were playing it close to the vest, and I think that's what you do in a game like this with so much on the line. I don't think you throw caution to the wind at any point, really, because neither team really got put into a position of desperation. Indiana didn't stretch that lead out very significantly. And I feel like Miami kind of, especially the first quarter and a half, I think they kind of went blow for blow, and Indiana got the field goal early, then they got the touchdown later in the first half. But they didn't panic, so that's a great testament to them. And I've been pretty critical of Mario Cristobal for a long time. Can't really criticize much of anything that he did in that game. It was was a heck of a game. I like to see the officials let the guys play. I'm okay with that. Some of the hand fighting on the on the pass attempts and that kind of thing. But it got a little out of hand. I think as the game went, the worse it got, and they finally had to throw a flag or two. But
Yeah.
they definitely let these guys play. It just I think it just crossed the line with some of the late hits and some of the jersey grabs and stuff like that they let go. I think that's that's just, you can't let stuff like that dictate who wins or loses, and it possibly could have had some bearing on that. So anyway, but again, I'm tip of the hand to both those teams, but again, Fernando Mendoza, man,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that he would be worthy of the number one overall pick. I think that kid's special. His
Yes.
leadership and just gutty. I think he's going to make somebody a good quarterback, and it looks like it's probably more than likely going to be the Raiders. So God help him
Yeah.
playing behind that offensive line. So, but anyway, yeah, man, it was a great. Indiana got to finish their story, their Cinderella season, first national championship in school history. And amazing story to go from statistically the worst team in Division One, FBS, whatever you want to refer to it as over the years, to national champion is tremendous. It's only the second time a team's went 16-0. So, you would expect somebody like an Alabama, an Ohio State, I don't know, USC, these just deep tradition blue blood schools to be the one to do that. Nope. It's Indiana, baby. So
Indiana Hoosiers.
that's it, man. It's it. It's hard to not like Kirk Signetti and this whole story of this team. It's hard to cheer against that because again, here's a guy that came from small schools, FCS schools. Yes, he was on Nick Saban's staff at Alabama, but he coached at Elon, and then he coached at James Madison. And then when he left James Madison to go to Indiana, everybody was like, that's almost a step down, even though it's Power 4. Why would you leave this powerhouse you built at James Madison to go to Indiana, right?
Yeah.
And here we sit, man, 2 years later, and he's got a national championship for the Hoosiers. So just remarkable, man. Just a great story all the way around.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard to top. It's going to take Tennessee winning one to top that, I believe, because that was phenomenal. So, all right. Well, speaking of championships, we've got Ferris. I don't know what you said, but he got like a million laughing faces he just sent me, so I must have said something. So we're going to crown an AFC and an NFC champion this Sunday. Horrible news for Denver and Bo Nix, man. That was
it's very terrible.
I'm a Niners fan through and through, die hard, red and gold, but I'm a huge Josh Allen fanboy, and that was that was brutal to see the way that went down for Josh Allen and the Bills. But what devastating news coming out of Denver with Bo Nix breaking a bone in his ankle. And there's a lot of, I know what the team has said. I know what Sean Payton has said, and I tend to believe that because Sean Payton's not known to, blow smoke. Said it happened on, one of the last plays. A lot of people speculated it happened on that deal down and his own player stepped on him and they're just trying to cover up the story. But, does it really matter? Bo Nix isn't playing in the game. he's got a broken ankle. So it really doesn't matter how it happened. So Jared Stidham is going to be the guy for however long this lasts for Denver. They've got one, possibly 2 games left in the season. And the Auburn alum is going to take the reins for the Broncos. So how do you feel about that, Josh? This guy's not thrown a pass in the NFL in 3 years.
Yeah, before we get to the Jared Stidham in the game, do you feel like the Bills kind of got robbed last Saturday?
I mean, I do. There's a little bit of personal bias in that, but I initially was really pissed about that call. And then on the heels of that, we saw in the other game with the Rams, Devontae Adams, almost identical situation. So I was really hot when they awarded that as a catch to Devontae and obviously didn't award that to Buffalo.
And how come they can't even review that play that went down?
Why they can't review it now, that's beyond me. I do not understand this whole, well, that play's not reviewable because the whistle blew or they said forward progress stopped. We can't review that. Just like that, Tennessee got burned with that against Purdue in the bowl game a few years ago.
Yeah.
I don't understand what makes it non-reviewable. And I'm going to be quite honest with you, man. I think any play should be reviewable.
Yeah.
And I know that can create some issue, and we've already got some of these games are long enough as it is, right? But we're talking a divisional round playoff game. We're talking a trip to the conference championship game on the line. This isn't week 5, right? So I don't understand, and I don't, and I understand some of plays that are and aren't reviewable. I get that. I understand the verbiage that they aren't. I do not understand the thought process behind it. So I don't know, but I kind of took a little closer look at both these plays, and they are different. And I know a lot of people have been spewing and ranting and raving about it, but they are different. And I'll go ahead and do this now, and then we'll get into the rest of it. They're different because Devontae Adams established the catch. He established possession of the ball, made what is recognized as a football move, and then went to the ground. Then the defender took the ball. Okay, so by definition of possession, Devontae Adams established that. They're saying with the Buffalo situation that the receiver did not establish possession before going to the ground. And I think it's the right call, even though I hate it. I think the call is right based on how the rule reads. What's up, T? No, man, you the GOAT.
What up, T?
We just the younglings out here. So I think they got it right, even though it pains me greatly to say that. But
I kind of disagree with you because I think
fine. You're welcome.
He caught the ball and his knee was down, and I get it like in slow motion, but I don't know what the refs were basically looking at. His knee was down, he had it in his arms, and I just wish they could have at least reviewed the play.
Yeah. The A, that it's not reviewable, and B, I don't know how you call that an interception in live action. I could see if they went back and overturned it after reviewing it. I could understand they making that call. But in the moment, live, I don't understand how you could possibly rule that and make that call as an interception.
Yeah.
So, and I think some of that is interpretation of A, what they see, and B, as the rule reads. As the rule reads, I feel like they got it right. I just don't think that – I don't see how they made that call in the moment. So, Agreed. If we're going to have replay, then damn it, let's use it. Let's not be arbitrary with it and, oh, well, we can review this, but we can't review that. No, you can either review stuff or you can't review stuff. This doesn't need to be a pick and choose what we can review. We can review a lot of silliness. Plays like that should be reviewed, period.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I don't know. I hate it. I thought, of all time, and I said this last week. That's why I was so adamant about Buffalo and Josh Allen finally getting there. Is there's no Mahomes, there's no Lamar, there's no Joe Burrow. There's these obstacles that have kept Josh and the Bills out of the Super Bowl for all these years aren't there. And lo and behold, if it isn't the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix, that send them home. So yeah, it was a rough weekend for me, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Niners got destroyed.
Balls loose.
Buffalo gets sent home. Now we've got a Rams Seahawks NFC Championship game. So called this several weeks back. Been on the Rams all season as my Super Bowl pick.
Yeah.
It's to be determined. But I had said several weeks ago that the NFC representative would be out of the West. And here we are. So hands down the best division in football this year. And, the fact that the Niners were even in the divisional round is a testament to Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh and the whole coaching staff, because my goodness, if any team could have laid down this year and not fought, they definitely had the reasons, but they fought, got there, and just unfortunately got the crap beat out of them twice in 3 weeks by the Seahawks. So just is what it is. But anyway, So we touched on it. Let's talk about it. Jarrett Stidham. Hadn't thrown a ball in the NFL in almost 3 years, I think it is. Definitely more, over 2. Is going to come in and try to lead this Broncos team to the Super Bowl. What in the world should we expect to see out of this Broncos team on Sunday?
Well, to get it started off, Hammer, I think to help him out, I think the run game is definitely going to have to be affected for the Broncos. A lot of handoffs, a lot of play action passes, and a lot of checkdowns for Jarrett Stidham. That's what I think. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely think the short passing game can be used as an extension of the run game. When I knew he was the backup quarterback, but I also thought that I don't know. I mean, at this point, dude, I would call Drew Brees and say, "Hey, dude, what's up?" I'd call somebody because I just don't know. But then Sean Payton comes out, and he's not necessarily one that's going to give you a lot of coach speak. He's pretty much, throughout his career, he's pretty much been pretty forthcoming with things. Maybe not so much on injuries, but other things. He's cut and dry. And when he said that he had full confidence in him, and if you go back, after Sean Payton took that job, Jarrett Stidham was the first free agent that he signed. So he handpicked Jarrett Stidham to be the backup quarterback on his team. So there must be something there that Payton likes. I don't know if it's just a fit for his offense. I don't know if it's just something in his game that Payton likes. I don't know if he's got, incriminating pictures of Sean Payton on a farm or something. I don't know what it is, but there's something that is enthralled Sean Payton with Jarrett Stidham. And I think part of it, too, is Peyton is going to look at this as a challenge. Like, oh, okay, so I'm going to take a backup quarterback and I'm going to go to the Super Bowl and I'm going to show all you suckers. I think he's got that little, mad scientist, evil genius gene in him. So kind of an ego thing too. So if Sean Payton's got confidence in him and believes in him, then I've got to at least give that some validity. And I think what you just said 100% is right. I don't expect them to take a lot of shots downfield. I think you'll see a lot of dump offs to running backs, tight ends. I think Jared Stidham can be a effective game manager. The only concern I have, and it's just simply the fact that this Patriots defense, they kind of flexed their muscles a little bit last week, and they've been very good all year. Not been great, very good. And a lot of people kind of question how good they really were, yours truly included, because of the schedule they played. And they were pretty vulnerable against the Bills. The Bills put 30 points on them. I don't necessarily expect Denver to do that. In fact, I'm go ahead and throw this out there. I like the under in this game. I think both these defenses are going to have to show up, and Drake May's not been statistically great over the past few weeks. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a rock fight of a game. And I think man, I don't know. I think Denver might be able to hang around in this one. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think without Bo Nix that Denver's going to be just dead in the water. Now, I don't expect Jared Stidham to put up the rushing yards that Bo Nix does. He's going to have to, generate offense in different ways. But I think he can be effective. And crazy things happen. So, if we get a special team score, a defensive score, turnover in a critical spot on the field, and Denver gets some cheap points, I think they can be in this game. So I took Denver plus the 5.5, and I took under either 40.5 or 41.5. I would have to look and see what that looks like. But I've also got a couple prop plays I like in this game. I've got Evan Ingram over 19.5 receiving yards because I think that's going to be a key position for Stidham in this game. I think he's going to have to get the ball out early and probably in the short to intermediate range. Plus, you've got Troy Franklin that's probably out. And is it Mims also that's out? They've got another receiver that's out. So they're down two receivers in this game.
Mims. Yeah, that's Mims.
Yeah, Marvin Mims. So you've got two, pretty key. Cortland Sutton obviously is the alpha there, but two pretty critical players. And Bo Nix loves Troy Franklin, man. They played at Oregon together, so he's been a QB favorite. So I think Ingram probably benefits the most from this. To your point, I think, R.J. Harvey's probably going to get involved. I'm even, been seeing and hearing that J.K. Dobbins may be ramping up to play in this game. Some sources say that, he's practiced and going to be ready. And other people have said that they're probably going to wait and use him in the Super Bowl if that's the case. So I don't know, but they've got more players. They've got more backs and tight ends, and that's where I would look in this game. And then also Ramondre Stevenson. I've got him over 48.5 yards rushing. I have been a big Travion Henderson fan all year. Was a fan of him coming into the season. Was really high on him from a fantasy standpoint. Took him a few weeks to kind of get his footing. Then he had a couple big games, but Ramondre Stevenson has been the guy the past couple weeks. And I think he's got the way James Cook ran on this defense last week. Dude, I think Ramondre is in for more than 48.5 rushing yards. I could see him easily getting into 60, 70 range and possibly Henderson as well, because Buffalo was very leaky against the run last week. So I think both of those plays, just matchup based and situational based, I think they're pretty solid from a prop perspective. And then, of course, like I said, I like Denver to hang around in this one, and I think it stays under the total. What are your thoughts on side total props, anything like that on this one?
Yeah, I'm like you, Hammer. I like the under 42.5 in this one. I just think both defenses all year have been playing stellar, and I think the only way we get touchdowns in this game if we see special teams punt block or a kick block for a touchdown. I just like you said, Drake May has been struggling the first few weeks of the playoffs, and our favor with the backup quarterback starting for the Broncos, Jarrett Stidham, I just don't see how he does anything good in this game. So yeah, I like under 42.5, and don't like a side, but I like two props in this game. So first prop we are going with, let's see, is it? Okay, first prop we are going with Travion Henderson over 34.5 rushing yards.
That seems
Travion,
so low, man. That
yeah,
seems so low. After what James Cook did last week, that
yeah.
seems criminally low.
And I agree with you. I think both running backs could go over their rushing total in this game because Denver, how many? They gave up almost 200 rushing yards last week, right, to the Bills?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull that up right now. I wanted to look at that and
Yeah,
see.
because I think Travion could at least hit 50 or 60 in this game because he's been playing great all year, rookie running back. I just That's a really low line, and I get it. Denver's defense is really good, but I feel like this should be like in 40, high 40 range.
Denver gave up 183 yards on the ground last week.
Yeah, so basically 200.
Yeah. Um, 66 to Josh Allen, which we know Jared Stidham's not going to be a threat to hit that, but 117
Right.
yards to James Cook. So, and they gave up over 5 yards a carry. Cook had 4.9 per rush attempt. Josh Allen had 5.5. So they gave up 5.1 yards per carry last week. And either
Yeah.
one of these two Patriot running backs can easily hit that. Ramadre will carry a guy 5 yards down the field um,
Yeah.
on his back. So, and then the flip side of that against Buffalo, who does not have a stellar rush defense or a stellar defense in any capacity. Denver was only able to manage 70 yards on the ground. Bo Nix, again, their leading rusher.
Wow.
Jaleel McLaughlin had 21. RJ Harvey had 20. But they only had 10 carries between them, 6 and 4, respectively. Denver's going to have to, run the football more than 22 times, and 12 of those
Yeah.
were Bo Nix. So 10 carries by running backs. That's going to change. They're going to have to lean into that running game. And then Mims was their number one receiver last week with 8 catches for 93 yards.
Yeah.
In fact, RJ Harvey had more catches than Cortland Sutton did last week.
Wow.
So I would definitely, prop market wise, man, I'm looking at tight ends and running backs for the Broncos in this game.
Yeah. And
Evan
for
Ingram will have more than
yeah.
one catch this week.
Yeah, he will. Definitely.
I just about guarantee you that. It's Pat Bryant. He's got a concussion. He's not playing.
Oh,
It may not be Mims. It's Pat Bryant. I'm sorry.
gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, everything in the world points to the Patriots just blowing the Broncos out, right? You don't have your starting quarterback. You can't run the ball. Two of your top receivers aren't playing, and the Patriots have, just come out of, an overtime war with their arch rival in the division. Everything screams New England. That's why I'm betting the Broncos plus 5.5.
Yeah.
I see us down to 4.5, but the total went up, so I didn't get the better part of the number there. I may circle back and hit that again under there. But
yeah,
I just don't. I just don't. And if I'm wrong, and I'm just wrong, it won't be the first time. But
yeah,
I don't see a lot of points in this one. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a rock fight of of epic proportion.
In my second player prop, I have kind of gonna ride the hot hand with this guy last week. Kayshon Boutte over 2.5 receptions, kind of juicy, minus 135, but he had like 4 or 5 receptions last week. I'm just gonna trust that he has another stellar performance this week against the Broncos, and I think that's going to be one of Drake May's go-to guys. So Kayshon Boutte over 2.5 receptions.
Yeah, I like that as well. Because you got to think that Stephon Diggs is going to garner the attention of Patrick Surtain for most of the game. So that's going to leave Boutte as going against the number 2 corner, maybe even the nickelback. So I like that a lot. And he's been sneaky and quietly really good all season. Did have some injury issues mid-season, but the guy he shows up, man. He's kind of like a Jawan Jennings. He can make that catch in traffic, and he can come down with with critical third down catches, big time touchdowns like he did last week. So yeah, I don't hate that one at all. Really like what he's been able to do there with Drake May, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the Rams and Seahawks both punched their tickets. Seahawks, unfortunately, at the expense of my Niners, and the Rams in a crazy game with the Bears. I mean, the Bears, man, they almost do it again, but just not quite enough in the tank. And Rams have kind of flirted with disaster their first 2 games. So what do you think about the Rams going into Seattle to take on this machine that is the Seahawks?
Yeah, I've playing the side. I don't know if I want to play a total yet. Want to get your thoughts on if you have a play on the total in this game. So for side, I'm gonna play the Seahawks minus 2.5. I just feel like that defense, they're a little bit better than the Rams, and I'm trusting the Seahawks offense in this game with Tim Darnold, Jackson Smith, Najigba to get it done at home against the Rams. I just feel like this Seahawks defense is nasty, man. I'm not going to compare them to the Legion of Boom, but they're really damn good. So yeah, Seahawks minus 2.5 in this game. I have no player props, so that's what I'm riding on. Seahawks at home.
Okay. I hate them both, so I'll start there. I bet the Rams preseason is one of my teams. I'm going to have to stick by it. So, and I say to heck with the points. You know me on a close spread. Screw the points. Give me the underdog outright. So I'm sticking with the Rams on the money line here. I can't. The beginning of the season, I would have told you Sean McVay's a better head coach than Mike McDonald. I can't sit here and tell you that right now, based on what I've seen the last 2 weeks from from McVay. And I was losing my shit on him last week or Sunday, because here you've got an absolute stud of a running back in Kyren Williams.
Yep.
The Bears have the fourth worst rush defense in the entire league. Fourth worst. They give up the fourth most yards per carry. They give up the fourth most yards total rushing offense. And Kyren Williams had like 6 or 7 carries in the first half. Like, what are we doing? Are we just out here stat padding for Matthew Stafford to win the MVP? What are we doing? He threw the ball 27 times in the first half, Josh. That's more than some quarterbacks throw in a game.
Yep.
We dropped back. I say we, not we. They dropped back Matthew Stafford 27 times. Sean, run the damn ball. You've got a all-world running back in Kyren Williams. You've got one of the best handcuff backs in all of the NFL in Blake Corum. Run the ball. I'm terrified to know what the game plan is going into this game with Seattle, because if I keep saying we. I say we because I bet them, okay? If y'all can't run the ball against this Bears defense, or choose not to run the ball against the Bears defense, what the hell are you going to do with this Seattle defense? This thing ain't no joke. You said, I think the Legion of Boom probably had some bigger names and some bigger hitters. I don't know that this defense isn't better. Statistically, I think they're better. So hopefully McVay kind of recovers from his cranial rectal inversion disorder and gets his head out of his ass and turns this offense loose, because you're not going to drop Matthew Stafford back 27 times in the first half against this defense. It's not going to work. I've got an interesting prop play in this game, Josh, and most people are going to tell me I'm crazy. I've shared it with some guys at work, and a couple of them laughed at me, but just hear me out.
Okay.
I'm sticking with Kyren. His rushing prop last week was like 61.5, 63.5, something like that. When and where. You got the number.
Right.
Well, somebody told Sean McVay that he had a running back, and you can run the football. It is allowed. So he started doing that in the second half, and Kyren Williams ends up with 80-something yards rushing.
Right.
His number this week's 53.5. And that's probably a lot against this defense, but I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to play that over, because they are going to have to run this ball. They've got to establish some type of running game in this game. They cannot become one-dimensional against this Seahawks defense. They're too good. And the other side, and this is the one that I'm getting all the crap for, of course, Zach Charbonnet, I think it's ACL. So much like Bo Nix, he's on the shelf for the remainder of whatever their playoff, future is. So all signs point to Kenneth Walker now. And his rushing yards is beefed up a little bit. When I got this, it was 89.5. I'm taking the under on Kenneth Walker's rushing yards. Reason being, the Rams' strength of their defense is their front seven. We all know and love Byron Young, right? He's our Vol for life on that team. And they're going to make Sam Darnold beat them. And we haven't seen it yet. And we kind of said the same thing about Carson Beck. And then, lo and behold, the last play of the game, he kind of shows up. The Carson Beck we all know and love shows up. I think at some point in this game, that Sam Darnold might make an appearance where he's seeing ghosts and kind of crashing, especially if he gets pressured. He gets pressured early. If they can get to him, make him uncomfortable. I think they're going to take Walker out of this game. I think they're going to make Sam Darnold beat him. And if that happens, then hats off to Sam Darnold. But I'm going to take Walker under that number. One, it's a high number. He's not hit that. I haven't done the research on it. I apologize, but you'd be hard pressed to go back this season and find a lot of games where Kenneth Walker had 90+ yards rushing. It's been a two-man show, and don't think just because Zach Charbonnet's not there that somebody else isn't going to step into this lineup and take some of those carries. Kenneth Walker is not going to carry the ball 30 times in this game. And I think that's what it would take for him to get 90 rushing yards against this defense. So barring a horribly misplayed run where he reels off 50, 60 yards, I don't think he gets there. So I would advise you to play that at your own risk. It's probably not the most popular play, but I just can't. That number scares me against anybody, with or without Zach Charbonnet, and it really scares me with this Rams defense. So those are my four. I'm playing those individually, and then I did parlay them for a nice plus 854. Odds may vary. Payout. So that's what I've got on that one. And Rams money.
If you had to play a total, what would you play, over or under in that game?
Where is the total in this one now?
46.5.
Oh man. I mean, this Seahawks offense has been cooking.
Yeah.
They just about hit the total last week by themselves. Man. I guess I'd have to lean over. We may get in the 50s in this game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as ugly as the AFC Championship game, and a lot of people are saying, well, this game really is the Super Bowl, and whoever wins this game is going to win the Super Bowl. And that very well could be true. I still think the NFC West is going to be the champion. So that very well could be the case, but I don't know. I think McVay's going to have to score points, which is going to force McDonald to score points. If the Rams can't get on the board, if they can't get into double digits in the first half, then this may be a long game for the Rams. So I think just the way the Rams are going to have to play this game, if I think the Rams are going to win, then in order to do that, they're going to have to score some points. So the over would be the way to go. If you're a Rams backer, you've got to bet the over, I believe, in this game. If you think Seattle can do to the Rams as they did to the Niners last week, then the under is probably your play. So I guess that depends on which side you think is the right side to be on in this game.
You wouldn't hate like the first half under because both teams could probably just fill each other out, or do you think we'll get an offensive shootout in the first half?
What is that total? Maybe,
let's see,
like 21.5.
It is 23.5.
23.5. Yeah, that might be a little tough because you know the Seahawks are going to come out of this thing fired up. Because they haven't had to travel at all. Rams have been on the road the past 2 weeks. So they're going to come out full of piss and vinegar and emotion and fired up. And so the Rams are going to have to weather that early storm. And if they can just not make mistakes, swap some punts, play some field position the first part of the game.
Right.
Then I think they can settle in. I kind of like a first half under. I think they're going to have to. I don't think anybody's swinging for the fences or going for a knockout punch in the first quarter. So
Agreed.
I kind of like that. Yeah, I would expected that to be a little bit lower, but 23.5. If you're talking, we're going to have 3 touchdowns and a field goal, basically. I don't know that we see that in the first half, so I do like that. I do
I
like
think I'm going to play that for half the units.
that's not a bad play. Yeah, I like that. So, all right. Anything else on the NFL before we tiptoe our way into something else?
No, nothing else.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. This is still NFL. I just wrote coaching down, and that had 2 references. But since we're still in the NFL, excuse me, let's just do that real quick. So, we've seen some pretty good hires. We've seen I think the Giants probably the biggest winner so far with the coaching carousel, landing, John Harbaugh. I think the Chargers. I can't believe I'm saying this. Can I go off camera and mute as I say this, because I don't want this to come back to bite me. I think the Chargers did a pretty good job with their hire of Mike McDaniel. I have hated him as a head coach since day one. It ended exactly the way I thought it was going to, and he's still an idiot. But the one thing he is an offensive mastermind. And I think he's got a better quarterback to work with in Los Angeles than he did in Miami. Combined with, Jim Harbaugh kind of CEOing the team. And this is about as odd a pairing as I think you probably could go find. But honestly, I think that was a huge win for the Chargers in landing McDonald. We'll talk about the Titans here in a second. I got to vent a little bit here. So give me 30, 45 seconds to blast my way through this. I don't know what the Buffalo Bills are doing. First of all, they fire Sean McDermott. And I posted this as I'm not surprised that they did this, although I am surprised, but it doesn't shock me that they fired him, because the past 6-7 years, whatever it's been, he has tried to get over that hump. And it's just like we talked about with Josh Allen. It's the Chiefs, it's the Bengals, it's the Ravens. He just can't get pushed through. So I get it. He was there, I think, 9 years. 7 of those years he was there with Josh Allen, and they couldn't even get to the Super Bowl. So I understand. 9 years is a long time. That's a long coaching life in the NFL if you're anybody other than Mike Tomlin. What kills me about this whole situation is Brandon Beane is the one that put this roster together. And I don't know what Terry Pagula is seeing in Brandon Beane. Pagula, the owner, is seeing in Beane, the former general manager, now president of the team. Like, what in the hell, man? If anybody should have been fired off this Buffalo Bills front office, it was Beane. He's the one that put this crappy roster together. He's the one that has not given Josh Allen a legitimate wide receiver. And he's the one that has yet to put a star player on the defensive side of the ball for them, not named Matt Milano. So why is he even employed, much less promoted? You're going to fire the coach and you're going to promote this idiot. I don't know, man. I wonder if the Bills' run is over, and the Patriots are going to just take back over that division. Unless they bring in Brian Daboll or promote Joe Brady, I don't see this thing working for the Bills, and that's a shame because Buffalo was so good for so long. with Jim Kelly and Bruce Smith and Thurman Thomas and Andre, all those guys, and to fall off the cliff, and then McDermott bring the franchise back to relevance, and then they draft Josh Allen. And the people of Buffalo, y'all are hardy people, man. Y'all show up and go to those games in the worst conditions ever. Support this team, and then crap like this happens to you. So I feel for the Buffalo fans out there, man, because this thing took a nasty turn south, and if they don't get this coaching hire right, I think it starts the downward spiral for Buffalo, and I hate that because I love Josh Allen. In case I didn't mention that. So you and I have kind of talked a little bit off record about the Titans and their hiring of Robert Saleh. Phenomenal defensive coordinator. Can't say enough good things about him as defensive coordinator. He had 2 stints with the Niners before he ran off to get bludgeoned by the New York Jets. And I'm seeing a lot of people. I haven't seen anybody just jumping up and down for joy about the hire as from Titan fans. You asked me what I felt about the hire,
Right.
And I think he's a great coach, but I think he's one of those guys that's a better coordinator than he is head coach. The biggest thing I guess as the hang up with this, and take the name off of the nameplate for a minute, and just put defensive coach in there. Take Saleh out, just put defensive coach. I just don't think that's what the Titans needed. I think the Titans needed to go out and get an offensive wizard.
And like I told you, if they hire a really good offensive coordinator, they'll be fine.
And I agree. I don't discount that. And there's still some out there. McDaniel, obviously probably the most notable. Kubiak, I think, is out there. And, oh, man, who's the other? There was somebody
Bobby
else.
Slowly from the Texans.
Yeah. Because I think the Texans offense is kind of but the Texans offense is because, one, they don't, Joe Mixon not being there was detrimental.
Yeah.
They were forced to use washed-up Nick Chubb and went behind the ears Woody Marks.
Yep.
And, dude, C.J. Stroud has just regressed. I mean, he
has regressed to the mean, yeah.
Oh, man, he was awful. So, and I hate that because he had looked really good his rookie year, took him to the playoffs his rookie year. And he's just consistently fallen. To the point of, I was like, they should have put Davis Mills in the game at halftime. Like, it was terrible. So, but the system, I think, is fine. It's just the execution was not there because, again, much like the Bills, they didn't have the horses to pull the wagon. And then with Nico Collins not being on the field was, not that it would have mattered because C.J. Stroud was trying to give the ball away to everybody, but his own team. So, but yeah, so I don't disagree with you, man. I think that if they can get the offensive coordinator position right, they hit a home run there, then I think there's hope. The defense wasn't bad to start with. They'll be even better with Saleh. It's just the offense. Cam Ward needs somebody to develop him. He's got the tool.
Yeah.
No question.
He does.
I absolutely believe Cam Ward is going to be a successful quarterback in this league.
Yes.
But he's going to have some development, and he's going to have some help. The Titans are going to have to do something they've not done in a very long time, and that's have a good draft.
Yep.
So,
and if I'm the GM of the Titans and I'm have the 4th pick, if he's not gone by then, I'm picking Ruben Bain from Miami.
I absolutely couldn't disagree at all with that. that guy is as NFL ready as there is. Him and Jacob Rodriguez are the two best defensive players I saw play football this year. No question. If they will just do what the Bears did in the offseason last year, bring in a couple veteran offensive linemen, draft a couple offensive linemen, third, fourth round, something like that.
Yep.
Get a couple pieces of depth on your defense. I like some of the guys they've got on the offensive side of the ball. You know, I was never a big believer in Tony Pollard at Dallas, even though he played really well when Zeke was out, but we didn't see him carry a full workload until Elliott was gone.
Yeah. He had back-to-back 1K rushing yard seasons for Thomas.
So he still got juice in the tank, and even though that 1,000-yard rushing isn't as prestigious as it once was with 17 games, still it's a passing league. So, you know, and Tajay Spears was hurt a good bit of the year as well. So they didn't really have that 1-2 punch, and I mean it wasn't hard to know the game plan with the Titans is you put 8 men in the box, you make Cam Ward beat you. So the fact that Pollard was able to get that 1,000 yards with no help and being pretty much the focus of the defense the majority of the time, I think that speaks volumes to that one, his durability, and two, he's still an effective back. If they can get Spears healthy and keep him healthy for a full season, man, that's going to be a similar offense that we see in Detroit. So they've got some pieces. This is not a terrible team. This is a horribly managed franchise.
Yep.
But the personnel's not terrible. They just need some, some depth. They need a couple significant upgrades on the offensive line. And then the right OC, and I think the Titans can be right back in the thick of the conference, or the division rather.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be easier to coach in Nashville than it is in New York. So I think we can at least give Robert Saleh the benefit of the doubt there that the pressure isn't as fierce and the lights aren't as bright. And I want the guy to succeed. So anything that I say that may come across or sound negative is not that at all. It's just how I see it. I love the guy. I hate to see him leave San Francisco. And I knew this was a very short, cup of coffee type stop for him because, of course, he's going to be in conversation for a head coaching job somewhere.
Yeah.
Because he did a phenomenal job with the Niners his first stint, got him to the Super Bowl. So, absolutely, you're getting a great coach. We haven't seen him be a great head coach. That's all.
Yeah.
And for Cam Ward's sake, I wish he was a more offensive-minded coach. But Jerry's out. Jerry's still out. We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess the Browns are still looking for their coach, right?
Yeah.
They've not hired anybody. The Falcons got Stefanski.
Yep.
And I guess Miami got the offensive coordinator Hafley from Green Bay, and I guess they got Green Bay's old general manager too, or assistant general manager, that Sullivan guy. So until they replace the quarterback in Miami, they're not going to win anything. And now they've got the Bills and the Patriots to deal with. So it'll be – maybe they can beat the Jets.
Yeah,
sorry, Rando. I'm grabbing on Rando's team here, but it is what it is, dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, real quick, I did want to mention too, a lot of people, and to me to some degree as well, been critical of how the transfer portal went, and what are we doing, and all that said and done. But all in all, I think we came out of that thing in pretty good shape. I'm still a little. I hope George McIntyre can get with our new strength and conditioning coach and put on about 15, 20 pounds between now and September. But that was an absolute slam dunk haul on the defensive side of the ball.
Really good hire.
One thing that I said we needed and tickled me more than anything in this whole process was the fact that we went out and we got some of those guys that have played for Jim Knowles, and we got one at each level. And then when I made out my wish list, that's exactly what I wanted to see. So not that they owe me anything, but I just felt like that's what we were going to need to be successful, and for Knowles, kind of his effect on the defense to show up year one, because it's well documented. It's a complex defense. It takes some time. But having these veteran guys that have played for him on the team is going to be wildly, wildly beneficial to our young guys. And then we get Arian Carter back, which I know everybody's got an opinion on that, and that's fine. You can have it. But bottom line is, I think what happened is he tested the waters just like any other kid would do, found out, hey, you're probably not going to be drafted where you want to be drafted. And, I don't know. From there, maybe he thought that, well, they went out and got all these, defensive players, these linebackers, so there's not a spot for me. Josh Heupel went and got him. So I don't care. All's forgiven as far as I'm concerned. He's a hell of an athlete, and he's checked out for a minute, but he's back home now. So I'm thrilled with that, and couldn't be more happier to get Derek Owens from Indiana. That guy is, and he brought some friends with him.
Yep.
So if George McIntyre is our guy, then I'm all for it. I'm on board 100% on DMAC. I didn't know that's what we were doing, and that's okay. Again, Josh Heupel owes none of us an explanation. But that was the only thing. I was a little hung up on the fact that we didn't get a more seasoned veteran quarterback in case, heaven forbid, please, dear Lord, no, something were to happen to McIntyre. I just felt like we needed that guy in the locker room. So hopefully we got him, and we get to see a efficient offense and a stellar defense to get us back into conversation of SEC championships and college football playoffs. So the future is very bright with our offense. It's just we've got to weather this, I think, 1 year storm, and then I think we're going to be okay. So, well, Josh, anything else that we need to talk about, analyze, tell what we know, make up what we don't?
Yeah, I had one more question I wanted to ask you about the Titans. So I know they have a lot of money to spend this offseason cap-wise. So you listed all your positions of need. You said a few offensive line in the draft, few offensive line in free agency. What else do you think they should get in free agency for all that money they got cap-wise?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think Max Crosby is going to be highly sought after if he is available. I don't know what the status of his. I don't know if he's restricted, unrestricted. Let me see if I can pull that up, or if he's. They're going to have to trade out to get him. Shoot, hang on. You can always use defense or linemen, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
So never go wrong there.
Yep.
Let's see. He signed a 3-year, $106 million extension.
Okay.
So he will not be a free agent until the 2030 season. He's locked up. So that's
Wow.
probably not, I've heard his name come up in several. You know how everybody puts together these stupid,
Yeah.
fantasy trades and all this crap. Well, I've seen his name come up a lot, and not just those people. I've seen his name come up a lot from legitimate sources, but he has got
Right.
way too much money on the books. He is a almost $36 million cap hit this season, and would be just over 35 million in dead cap. So I don't see him going anywhere for the Raiders.
I know the
Um,
Titans years ago when John Robinson was the general manager, he did one of the most stupidest things of all time by trading AJ Brown on draft night. Would you possibly, if he wants to trade and wants to get out of Philly, would you try to trade for AJ Brown, maybe, if he wants to come back?
I don't see how you don't um, bring him back if he's available. I think that was the beginning of the spiral down. Is when they let
Yeah,
him walk. So, and then of course Derrick Henry right behind him. But
right.
I don't see how you don't bring him back. And the only problem is he's gonna. We know how he is. If he doesn't get the ball, he is going to be pissed, right?
Yeah, really
And
pissed.
right, and this is his second go around, and he would maybe have a little bit of a bad taste about, because I don't think he wanted to leave when he left.
Right.
So I don't know if he'd be willing to. I don't know how you don't welcome him in, but I'll give you a quick rundown. Then I think edge rusher is probably the number one, because they won't have anybody. They don't really have any starters under contract for next season.
Right.
So I think edge rusher has got to be, their number one, whether that's David Bailey or the Falk guy from Auburn, Reuben Bain. Obviously,
Yeah.
you'd be hard pressed to find somebody. The Howell kid from Texas A&M. Like, there's a lot of good edge rushers in this draft. They've got to get one of those.
Because I saw a few mock drafts. They said the Titans were either going to take Bain from Miami or Caleb Downs from Ohio State.
Yeah. I don't know that Arvell Reese wouldn't be a bad pick if we're talking about Ohio State. That's another guy that I think could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's probably 2 or 3 guys in the top 5 of the edge rusher. It's very deep this year, and there's some very good NFL ready guys
Right.
that they could go get. You mentioned AJ. I think they're going to need a receiver as well. I think that's a pretty glaring need.
And I saw another thing on Twitter where I follow a lot of Titans fans there. They were saying something about the Titans, since Saul is the head coach, they should try to get Brandon Ayuk in free agency.
Yeah, because John Lynch said, I think today, maybe yesterday, but that
Yeah.
he will not be part of the organization going forward. I just don't know how healthy he is. I don't know if
Right.
part of his not coming back when he was supposed to was because of his health, or if it was because of his attitude. There was, they just gave him a crap ton of money a season ago, and then he gets hurt. He kind of half-assed his rehab. Was supposed to be available, within the 4-week on the pup list. Supposed to be able to come back at least week 5. They said earliest would be week 6.
Right.
I said it'd be week 10, and that joker never came back. Never stepped
Yeah.
on the field. So I don't know how much of it was really injury or how much of it was just the relationship got broken somehow. I like A.M. Manor a lot. DK was really good too. Uh,
Yeah,
but they need a one. They need an alpha dog.
they do need a one.
So whatever that looks like for them, a cornerback would probably be good.
Because Calvin Ridley cannot stay on the field. Since he's been with the Titans, he just can't stay healthy.
No, it's been terrible. It's kind of like Julio Jones's
Yeah,
run with the Eagles. It's just been pretty much non-existent. But but I think it's Armour Davis and Baker are the corners, uh,
yeah,
and Marcus Harris. I think Harris is pretty good, like as a nickelback or a slot corner, but they've got to get somebody. That D'Angelo Pons kid from Indiana,
yeah,
dude, I love that kid. He's 5'9". He plays like he's 6'3". Like
yeah,
that dude is a baller. And of course, I'm a little partial to this Colton Hood kid.
yeah.
And Keontae Scott, also Miami. I think he's really good. So, one of those guys could probably be there. I'm telling you, dude, they're going to have to get some offensive linemen. Specifically, I think they're going to have to get some
Definitely.
interior offensive linemen.
Yes.
They've got to protect Cam Ward. Dude, I don't care who you put back there. Short of Jesus playing quarterback, it doesn't matter who you put back there. If you can't protect them, you pressure Tom Brady, he's not gonna do well.
Yeah.
So, the other thing I just mentioned, Pollard. I think there's a potential though. He might get cut because of money.
Yeah.
Not
I
that
could
they
see
can't
that.
afford it. It's that they don't want to pay that much to 29, 30-year-old running back. We know Spears has had trouble staying on the field.
Right.
So I think running back might be also something that they're looking to fill as well.
What do you think they do for running back if they end up cutting Tony Pollard?
I don't really know. I've seen a couple draft boards that, well, really both the running backs from Notre Dame are probably second or third round. I don't know that I would take one that early.
Yeah.
I think they really needed the edge rusher's got to be pick number one.
Right.
I think a top receiver has got to be by the end of the second round. That's got to happen. From there, corner, offensive lineman, running back, anything. So I guess just whatever they view and value at the time is probably where they need to go. But there's a lot of good running backs, and we've seen time after time after time, fourth, fifth, sixth round running backs come in and play. Kyle Monunga is a perfect example of a late round draft pick, coming in and being effective. We see tons of third round draft picks that come in and do well. So I wouldn't rush that pick.
Right.
But I think they've got 4 picks in the top 100 of the draft. So they've got some pretty good draft capital, and who knows what they might do between now and April, but that's where I think they could start in kind of building this roster. But they better go get them an edge rusher in the first round. That better be when they announce the number 4 pick, it better be a defensive end.
Here's the top 5 from CBS's NFL mock draft. Obviously, number 1, Raiders, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana.
Yep.
Jets with the second pick, Arvell Reese from Ohio State. Third pick for the Cardinals, Maya Goa from Arizona. And with the fourth pick, the Titans select Ruben Bain from Miami, edge rusher. And
Would
with
not hate it at all.
Yeah. With the fifth pick, the New York Giants select Carnell Tate from Ohio State.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Wandale Robinson, who I had no confidence in whatsoever a few years ago, has actually turned into a pretty nice player.
Yeah.
And if they can get their shiny new first round pick healthy, um, that guy's a game changer. But you got to be on the field. So
Yes.
and Harbaugh, I don't know what he's going to want to do. They've got a ton of talent on that defense. There are so many first round players on the defensive side of the ball for that team. It would not
Yeah.
surprise me at all if they went offense to get Jackson Dart some help. Because you gotta be on the field to have an impact, and they've had trouble keeping their offensive players healthy. So, and Tyrone Tracy proved he's still got some gas in the tank. So if they can get him and Scatabo on the field, not necessarily together, but available, get them both in the game, man, they could be maybe an offensive lineman and a wide receiver away from giving Philly a run, because we know Dallas isn't going to, so somebody has to step up. But I think defensively the Giants are set on defense. They've got some really good players.
This is A to Z Sports Titans mock draft predictions. They have with the fourth pick, the Titans selected David Bailey, an edge from Texas Tech. Is he any good?
Yeah, he's one of the guys I mentioned too.
Oh,
You could pretty much take anybody off that Texas Tech defense this year, you'd be okay. It's just Bain, the recency of Bain and him having that big game.
You'd rather have Bain, though.
I think so. I think he's probably more NFL ready, but you're not going to go wrong. You're not going to go wrong with either one of those guys. There's a lot of good defensive ends. I just think Bain's on our mind because of how many times we've heard his the past couple of weeks. And you can't deny the guy is super, super talented. He will definitely. I mean, that'd be my pick. If I were going to take a player, that'd be him. No doubt. He's just he kind of reminds me of Abdul Carter. So I think he could. I think he would be a very solid.
Well, that's all I got tonight, Hammer.
Good deal. So give me a Super Bowl. Who's going to be in the Super Bowl?
It's going to be the Seahawks and Patriots rematch.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick the Seahawks. I think they get revenge from that horrible last Super Bowl loss when they played the Patriots.
Okay, so you don't see a Jeff Hostetler or Nick Foles performance out of Jared Stidham, I take it?
I think he has a pretty decent performance, but not enough to beat the Patriots Sunday.
Okay, all right, and then you got
what about you?
Winning it all, right? Well,
yeah,
I've doubled and tripled, quadrupled down on the Rams. I had Rams and Bills. That was my Super Bowl for the beginning of the year. And I'm already half wrong. So I'm going to stick with the Rams. Somehow, some way, I think McVay figures it out. And they do just enough to – and I don't know if I'm telling you that or I'm trying to convince myself of that, but that's where I'm going. And then I agree. As much as I think Denver can stay in this game and keep this game close, I think ultimately, the Patriots pull it out and Mike Vrabel takes them to the Super Bowl in his first year. So, and then the Rams will win the whole thing and cash my plus 750 ticket.
Oh, nice. When did you place that bet on the Rams? Plus
July. July. Yeah, I'm going to do I was going to wait until after the Super Bowl to do it, but I think after this weekend, I think I'll be ready. I'm going to go division winners over win totals and
Gotcha.
see how I did. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Did miss the Bills, of course, on the division, but I did call out the Patriots too, though. So
Yeah.
I hit a couple nice little licks with them on
There you go.
7.5 wins, and I put a shekel or two on them to win the division. So at least that paid off.
Nice.
But yeah, I think we get Rams Patriots rematch, and I think the Rams take it. So
We'll see.
we shall see in very short time. We may all be snowed in and watching it on our phones. So if power goes
Yep.
out, but in any event, the game will go on. So, all right, my man. I kept you a little longer than I intended, so I appreciate you
That's all right.
hanging in there.
No
Everybody, if
problem.
you're not, I can't imagine at this point, week 20, 21, 22, whatever we're in, we've been doing this. At Joshyboy from Tennessee, go follow him. Josh always throwing a few bets out there, so be sure to go follow him. Follow the podcast page over at Dropping the Hammer DTH Podcast on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube and always live right here on the Twitter machine. So thanks everybody for stopping by, tuning in. If you do take any of these bets, the best of luck to you. If you've got a team playing, good luck. And we'll see you guys next week. Josh, love you, brother.
Love you, man.
And we'll catch you next time.